Welcome to Expedition Networking, a special segment of the Networking RX podcast. I'm Frank Agan, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections, and your host for this program. For those of you who are familiar, on the Networking RX podcast, we share information and have conversations with experts, such as authors, researchers, and social scientists. And all of these programs are aimed at helping you learn how to become better at building professional relationships and understanding why they work. In this Expedition Networking segment, however, we're going to bring on successful entrepreneurs and unique professionals and explore their networking adventure and learn how they used relationships to create lasting success. Today on Expedition Networking, we have Cheryl Cage. She is a partner advisor to MyCORE. She's going to tell us about that in that story, but she's also a wife and a mother of three. She loves people and lives to serve others, and that'll come out in this conversation. She is coming from a real estate background. Cheryl survived the nationwide real estate crash of 2008 and lost everything she worked so hard to get. She knows what it feels like to lose your livelihood. Now she is positioned to help others across the nation beat the 50% closure rate in the last 5 years of businesses. Excuse me, let me re-say that. Sorry, Cheryl. She wants to help businesses fix the closure rate that happens in the first 5 years of businesses. And that's essentially what her and her company are on a mission to do. And her company, again, is MyCORE. Cheryl, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super, super excited to be here. I love every opportunity I can get to meet new friends, make impacts in other people's lives, and share the story, right? Because that's what we all know. Facts tell, but stories sell.
Yeah,
stories
no, you're right.
Are what people love, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I just want to point out you're in the Maryland area.
I am. I'm out of Annapolis, Maryland, the capital.
Yeah, I want to give people context as to, I'm just not talking to people in my backyard. I'm talking to people from all over the country. So jump in, give us the story, how
Awesome.
You got to this point in time.
For sure. And you and I met networking. So what's so exciting now is in this really bizarre time that we have experienced in life, right? With COVID and the pandemic, we're trying to do our part, right? This is not something to be taken lightly. People are dying, right? But when you're told to stay home, you have a choice. You can either complain that you have lemons or you can make lemonade. And I definitely chose this time to make lemonade. I thought, I'm going to take this as a reset. We've never had this opportunity in our life. So I'll stay home and do what I'm supposed to do by staying safe and keeping others safe. But I'm going to work on myself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And then everyone in the world kind of turned into this virtual acceptance, which is what myself and my company was always about. We were always virtual. So it's really interesting to see how even in business, we made an arc. We built an arc, and all of a sudden, people are looking to us for guidance, for doing Zoom meetings, for having to pivot. We didn't pivot. We did some refining over the last months, but we definitely didn't have to pivot. But it was exciting to be able to come from contribution and help others. So I'd love to share a little bit about how I got here and the relationships I've made along the way, and just really how excited I am to be part of an incredible company that started nearly 5 years ago. So what you were referencing was that 50% of businesses shut down within the first 5 years because they didn't do it right. They didn't do it right with bookkeeping or accounting or paying their taxes. And they either have to change their name with their LLCs and come up with a new name, or it's a mess. They close down. 50%, that's a huge number. You laid reference to the fact that I came from the real estate background, which I do. I was a realtor for the Maryland governor, Larry Hogan, for 15 years. And I loved real estate. I thought real estate would be my end game. I'd worked very hard to become an amazing realtor, and I was young. I was 28 years old when I got into the business. And here in Anne Arundel County, which is the county where the capital of Maryland, Annapolis is, the average age for realtors were 54, and the average homes they sold were 4. Well, with Larry's guidance and help, and he was a wonderful broker, he got me by the age of 30, 32, selling an average of 54 homes a year. So I was doing really, really well. Everyone told me that, real estate has its slumps. Well, whoever thought the slumpiest slump of all was upon us. Oh my gosh. When that slump came, it was 15 years ago. You ask, how do you know so quickly? Well, it's because I have a 15-year-old child and I have a 14-year-old child. So that was really tough, having back-to-back babies and being in a place where your business just went away. I couldn't have gone anywhere else in the United States and restored my real estate career. I mean, it was gone. And it was sad because my friends lost more than I lost. I had friends that, were multimillionaires that sadly ended their life, or even Larry Hogan, the governor, had cancer. Like, it was a really stressful, awful time. And I remember going through it and having these young babies, and I had a 10-year-old. My husband and I had one child, and then boom, boom, 2 later in life. And it was tough. We lost our home. We lost our cars. And I thought, oh my gosh, what now? Like, here I've worked so hard to become a great realtor, work very hard, learning contracts and negotiations. And I was good at it. I was proud of myself because I didn't have a college degree. I hadn't chosen to go that way. School was never something that I loved. School was tough for me. My husband doesn't have a degree. In fact, he was hurt in 1997 and couldn't work for 12 years. So he raised our children, and I worked really, really hard. And you had mentioned to me about how important relationships are to you, and they're that important to me too. I love people. People is my superpower. So people are loving on people and caring about people is definitely what I'm great at and have mastered. It's school that never appealed to me. It was taking classes that I just didn't understand why I was taking to better myself in life. But when you're stuck in a situation of now what, pretty difficult. So I did an awful lot of praying. But I also, because my husband didn't work and I was a 1099 realtor, I worked in a restaurant 40 hours a week on the weekends. So Friday night to Sunday night, I worked in a restaurant to provide healthcare benefits for my family. And relationships are something that I already have expressed to you that are so important to me. I was put up for adoption as a baby. I knew about it my entire life. I have my first real recollection of it when I was 4, and my mother got down on her knees as I was heading into preschool and said, I have something I want to tell you. You didn't come from my belly, but I'm your mom. I thought, okay. But then as I started growing up from age 4 and really being able to grasp that, I realized, what if I ever met you and found out later that you were part of my biological family? I wanted to remember the moment I met you. So my ability to remember names, faces, birthdays, dog names, where I met you, who you are, let me tell you, I've never met anyone like me. But I refined that skill over 46 years. I'm 50 years old. So it's about 4 that I started to, heard the story for the first time and really remembered it. But so I've just mastered people. I just love people. Coming from contribution, as I said, being a big connector, being a big influencer, all of that I feel is really important in business, and helping others, as Zig Ziglar says, right? Help enough people get what they want, you'll inevitably have everything that you want. And so I love the fact that now we can network anywhere. We can make awesome relationships. I'm all about, not having relationships be a mile wide and an inch deep, but to be a mile deep and maybe an inch wide. You want to really make sure relationships are deep. So yeah, so a little bit about MyCORE. As I told you already, I prayed for what's the next next thing. I knew it wasn't going to be staying waiting tables. That was never my end game. I needed something bigger. I was meant for big. I don't just had this delusional goal. And I got involved in a title company after the real estate crash, where I had an attorney say to me, Cheryl, you know so many realtors and lenders, be my marketing exec, wine and dine realtors and lenders with me, and bring them in to do title work. So I got my license to be a title producer, though I never had any interest in doing numbers. I was put into a BNI, a Business Networking International group in Maryland. And one of the visitor days, it was my turn to talk. And this 27-year-old man walked in and said, you and I need to get to know each other. And I thought, it's a week before Christmas. I'll never see this guy again. We ran into each other again in the beginning of the year. And he had this big, crazy dream to change the world. And I bought into his crazy dream. It took a while, but on January 19th, 2016, we created a company. Nathan Bourne is the founder and CEO of the company MyCORE. And he comes from a company that's one of our partners, Legal Shield, which is a multi-level marketing company. He had never worked for any company before, never been an employee. And he was in, he went to college at UPenn, an Ivy League school. And he was introduced to Legal Shield, made lots of money, and thought, why am I in school? So he created a huge organization through Legal Shield. But when he saw the business to business side, he realized Legal Shield was important, but it wasn't urgent. This country had a problem with healthcare, and somebody needed to be crazy enough to jump in and try to shake it up and see what they could do. And he just thought that he and I were the perfect ones to do that, which was really funny. So for the first year, through all my connections, we were able to really kind of get a taste from the inside of big brokers, what that would look like. And we realized it was a messed up, antiquated, old system. You know, no one was graduating from college saying, let's get into insurance. It definitely wasn't, you know, the cool, hip, new thing. But we got into insurance, and we found out that the under 100 employee space, nobody was in. There wasn't enough money. These older big brokers had lots of real estate. They had lots of employees that they needed to pay for it, and they would rather go after the bigger companies than the small companies. And 98.6% of businesses in the US are under 100 employees.
Right.
78% of them are under 4 employees. No broker was going to talk to them. If you wanted to offer a benefits package for your employees, they'd email you quotes, and you were on your own. So we set out to really revolutionize this. Within our first year of taking on clients in 2017, we grew to 50. We shielded up, as we like to call it. Our shield is our brand. That stands for relationships vertically being pulled together horizontally. Red, white, and blue for the exact color of the United States flag. And we want to see employers and employees so inspired to go to work every day. I'm so inspired to go to work every day because I work with a company that wants to change the world, that has a big, crazy goal and dream. We want to be the world's most employee-centric company. Funny, when the CEO and founder was never an employee, right? But through all of our personal development, all of our professional development and leadership development, we've really crafted an amazing organization that is not afraid of change, that is not afraid when things aren't right to change it and do it again. We definitely put the attitude before the paycheck. And as we grew to 200, we quadrupled in year 3 to over 200 companies that we shielded up. We realized if we didn't have eyes on payroll, we were no better than anyone else. So we set out to vet the best payroll company in the country, and we partnered with them. We went straight to them and said, listen, you all offer payroll benefits in HR, but you're really a payroll company. You're white labeled HR company, and we want to be your benefits and do it together. So today, fast forward to almost 5 years on January 19th, MyCORE now sits as an all-in subscription model for businesses with 1 to 100 employees. And we have an all-in subscription of payroll, benefits, and HR. And we have a one subscription of bookkeeping, accounting, and taxes. So imagine walking into your dream of running a business or owning a business, right? Building a business, and you do it for time and money, but yet you get into these business and now you've got to vet those 6 verticals. And if you don't do it right, you have a 50% chance of surviving. So MyCORE has worked very hard to figure out how to lock arms and help you run your business. We're all licensed health and life insurance agents. So we're able to enroll your employees. We have eyes on payroll. When you dismiss people, we can get them out of the system. And we really have buttoned it up by not trying to become all things to all people, but actually vetting, doing the homework, vetting the best people across the country and saying, join our team, join our mission, and let's all work together. So super exciting.
That's an amazing story. A lot of relationships in there.
Tons.
What'd you want to be when you were growing up?
So it's funny you say that. When we first started MyCORE, we started a networking group called MyCORE Networking. So we knew we wanted to have benefits be the start of where we are. Our end goal was to be to service what Amazon is to product. But we started this networking group, and Nathan posed this exact question. The founder and CEO of our company posed this exact question to a group of about 30 of us. What did you want to be when you grow up? And I told him that I wanted to be a dolphin trainer. And when he came around to his turn at the table, he looked at me, he goes, I had no idea you wanted to be a dolphin trainer. And then he turned to the group, and this is what he said, and it really melted my heart. He said, I have traveled around and I have done big speaking to big corporations, and I have taught them about how we should treat employees and how employees want to be treated, and really work on this employee-centric dream that he had to put together. And he said, I teach what's called the DISC program. That's a personality kind of test that you can figure out. Right. So he said, there's 4 different kinds of people. You have your sharks, and they're like your lawyers and your doctors. They want to know what's in it for them. Just no fluff, no love, just what's in it for them. Then you have your sea urchins, and those guys are like your factory workers, your engineers. They're just trying to figure out how everything works. You have your whales, and your whales are like teachers and nurses. They want to care for people and nurture and be loving and help. And then you have your dolphins, and he's like, your dolphins, they're the life of the party. They're the people that love everyone and want everyone to love them. And he said, for those of you who don't know, for the last 1.5 years, I've been working with Cheryl as a mentor. I've been teaching her how to be a leader. And Cheryl, congratulations, you're a dolphin trainer.
Awesome.
That's funny.
Causes or charities you strongly believe in?
Yeah, nobody should be hungry in this country. It makes me so sad. So I'm proud to go feed the homeless in Baltimore City once a week with an awesome organization called Be More Caring. And I've been part of that organization for 3 years now. And we take clothes and food down to the city. And, a lot of us grow up and our parents say, I'm from Annapolis, right? So I'm 30 minutes from DC and 30 minutes from Baltimore. And whenever I would go, my mother would say, don't look at those people sleeping on the street, keep your eyes to yourself, like don't stare. And that's how we kind of grew up. And the first time I ever went out to feed the homeless, it was by accident. Actually, I wound up, but I said to the CEO of Be More Caring, Josh Hanshoe, I said to him, why do you ask the homeless people their names? Because he told me, take these bottled waters and ask everybody their names. I'm like, okay, why do you do that? And he said, the homeless people hear their names 3 times a year. Whew, chokes me up a little bit, right? The sweetest sound to the human soul is their name. When you address somebody by their name, Frank, it just melts your heart, right? It's like your favorite thing to hear. And here's people that have been, shunned, judged. Boy, are they judged, right? Everyone thinks homeless people are druggies. They're not. A lot of them have problems with mental health. And I'm just proud that I found the answer, overcame it, and go down. And I call those people my friends.
Okay. Best advice you ever received?
Love everyone, work with the willing.
That sounds great.
You know, you used to judge, like, you don't see things my way. You don't think my company's amazing. What the heck is wrong with you? I used to get so judgy, but when someone taught me, just love everyone, Cheryl, but just work with the willing, it just gave this sense of relief. Really cool.
Sounds great. Cheryl, I really appreciate your time on the program today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
To wrap things up, remember, we're looking for some enterprising business types to join our team as franchisees of AmSpirit Business Connections. Our franchisees work with entrepreneurs, sales representatives, and professionals in their area to help them become more successful through networking and the exchange of quality business referrals in a structured weekly morning meeting. This is a unique franchise opportunity, you see, because these meetings are in the morning. A successful business type or professional can add this franchise opportunity onto what they're already doing. Again, all of our franchisees do something else. For a couple hours in the morning, a few mornings a week, these franchisees work the AmSpirit Business Connections model. The rest of the time, they're attorneys, accountants, realtors, coaches, and consultants of various kinds. The wonderful thing is that not only do our franchisees realize a financial gain from operating the AmSpirit Business Connections model, but the business networks that they build and develop become a great source of referrals for their primary business as well. Perhaps you know someone, perhaps you are that someone. Whatever the case, to learn more about the AmSpirit Business Connections franchise opportunity, please contact me using the email in the show notes or the one we provide at the end of this program.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.